there, warm welcome. You're watching Times Now's Election Premier League and I'm Meghna Deka. Well, this election season, there is politics over everything, including the vaccine war. Yes, that's right. This election season, the vaccine wars are back in the discourse. This is going to be a call-in show where you, the viewers, can connect with us directly here on Times Now at the numbers there flashing at the bottom of your screens. What really is the vaccine war 2.0? Well, AstraZeneca, a British-Swedish multinational pharmaceutical company, has for the first time admitted in a UK court that its COVID-19 vaccine may lead to a rare side effect. In the UK court, documents the way that the company has now stated that its COVID vaccine can lead to a condition that results in blood clots and low platelet counts. In fact, the statement by this pharmaceutical giant comes as it is now being sued for over 1,000 crore rupees in a class action over claims its vaccine is causing death and also serious injury in 51 cases across UK so far. Now, AstraZeneca's vaccine was manufactured in India by Pune-based Serum Institute, remember, and has sold as Covishield in India. Now, sources are telling Times Now that there is no case of rare side effects of TTS, which was ever found in India, and admission of the rare side effect in court is not new, as the side effects of the vaccine were already in public domain at the time of administering this vaccine. However, when Times Now reached out to the Serum Institute of India, which, remember, was manufacturing Covishield, the vaccine manufacturer refused to comment. In fact, AstraZeneca's admission has now stirred a hornet's nest, and the Congress party has trained its guns at the BJP and Prime Minister Modi, who backed Covishield, asking, will they clarify now? Well, the opposition has also demanded an investigation in India as well, just like in the UK. Listen in.
I tell you, this was disaster is going to be disastrous. And many youths are suddenly dying because of its side effects. Now it's resurfacing. Now it's manifesting the side effects of COVID.
कोविड के मामले में जब हम बात करते हैं तो एक चीज़ सामने आती है कि कोविड जब इंडिया के अंदर आया तो बीजेपी ने इसकी भी मार्केटिंग की। मार्केटिंग के बाद कोविड की मार्केटिंग की और वैक्सीन जब लगाना शुरू किया तो उस वक्त भी बहुत से लोगों ने कहा कि ये वैक्सीन जो है अभी ज़्यादा टेस्ट नहीं की गई है, इसको नहीं लगाना चाहिए। लेकिन इन्होंने फोर्सबली लोगों को वैक्सीन लगवाई और कई लोगों की जानें भी गई। अब अगर कोर्ट ने कॉग्निजेंस ली है और माना गया है कि इसमें ब्लड क्लॉटिंग होती है तो मैं समझता हूं कि थॉरोली इन्वेस्टिगेट होना चाहिए और इन्वेस्टिगेशन के बाद ये भी देखना चाहिए कि जिम्मेदार कौन है इस मौतों का जो वैक्सीन से हुई हैं।
So, of course, there's already politics which has erupted, but the question is, how much should people like you and me be worried? We are not going to be answering these questions rhetorically. We have two gentlemen who are going to be answering all the questions that you have. There's a call-in show with two doctors who are going to give you the medical opinion of their understanding of this entire case. We have with us Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, the chairperson of Nephron. Also, Dr. Ishwar Gilada is joining us, the infectious diseases expert and the general secretary of Organized Medical Academic Guild. So I'm going to go across to our first viewer who's calling in now. We have Prakash, who's calling us from Chennai. Go ahead, Prakash. What is your question to the doctors?
Unless we have a very resounding medical opinion about the COVID shield, we must not jump to conclusion. Number two, how can BJP as a party be blamed for this? Number three is, as it is coming from UK, it is no big surprise. This is definitely a wrong misinformation being spread, and I don't think anybody, any politician is, qualified enough to speak on the vaccine. We need expert medical opinion on this.
Absolutely.
Politicizing this is nothing but spreading panic and bringing discredit.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Country.
Our first viewer, Prakash, calling us from Chennai, telling us, don't fearmonger. It is important that we get a medical opinion on this. One more question from one of our viewers, and then I'll go across to the doctors. We have Chittaranjan, who's calling us from Pune. Go ahead, Chittaranjan.
Hello, doctor.
Yes, go ahead. They can both hear you. What's your question?
I took my first shot on the 6th of March 21. And I got few rashes, which I showed it to doctor. They said, no, it will go with the time. And yes, it did disappear after about 2 weeks. Second shot I took on the 19th April. And with that, my whole body, I got rashes all over my body, big rashes. And I had a tough time, and that took me nearly about 8 months, 10 months for it to practically wear out. Then the third, I took, I don't know why, but I took the precautionary dose on the 20th January 22. And after that, there was no looking back. Till today, I'm suffering from that.
And which vaccine was this, Mr. Chittaranjan?
The Covaxin. Sorry, this was what you call...
Covishield, or was it Covaxin?
Covishield.
Okay.
Covishield, yeah.
So
then I called Serum Institute.
Okay.
And I spoke to, I don't remember the name, I spoke to somebody there. They put me on to somebody. He says, no, it can't be because within half an hour, 45 minutes, you should get the rashes. If we come later on, we have nothing to do with it.
Okay.
That's the answer I got from Serum Institute. Any case, I thought I was recovering, and I wanted to see my grandchildren. I traveled to Dublin. And the moment I reached, my whole body again, within 2 days, got covered with the rashes. I was hospitalized for 5 days, and I got that report from them. And they said this is something very unusual. They had not seen something like that. They did all the tests. And then they put me on the drip, and they gave me some creams to put on, etc., etc. And I came back, cut short, and I came back to the country. So after that, it has been going and coming, just like hives.
So it's still continuing with you? Is that the question you want to ask?
I still have these on my body.
Okay.
And they are red. I've been putting a lot of creams night, after bath, morning, evening. And the moment I get a heat or anything that's a little warm, or I eat a spicy food, immediately they become red. And
let me put that question across to Dr. Ishwar Gilada. That is one of the problems, isn't it, Doctor? The fact that people are uncertain as to what is causing what. But do we need a thorough probe into it? Because this is, after all, the first time that AstraZeneca has gone on record to say, yes, indeed, there are side effects.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. Almost 90% people in India who took vaccine, they took Covishield. So 9 out of 10 people have taken Covishield. Secondly, the no vaccine had without any side effects. Some side effects were there, Everybody got some or the other adverse side effect. But they were small enough. They were mild enough. Some very few people got severe side effects. Now, if severe side effects are there, for example, this clotting disorder, this can be there in COVID itself. This can be in long COVID. This can be with COVID vaccine. So it is very difficult for even medical community, leave apart the legal community, to establish whether it is from A, B or C. Thirdly, it is so rare. It is almost 1 in 50,000 to 1 in 1 lakh. So it's the 0.002% to 0.001%. So in that sense, everybody need not panic.
Okay.
Things have gone ahead. Now, the second issue is, at that time, we had a very bad Delta wave, when people were dying in numbers, and everybody, every family had at least 1 or 2 people who were sick. During that time, whether you take vaccine or wait for death, that was the situation. So people had taken vaccine, nothing wrong. Vaccines were given by government, nothing wrong. Vaccines were marketed by company, nothing wrong, because at that time there was nothing available. So we need to decide what is, whether saving people is more important or few people getting some adverse effect is more important. And we have to outweigh between each other. And that time, benefits were outweighed against the adverse effect. So now it is now elaborately saying some people have got vaccine, some people got problem, people have gone into court, they are seeking. Yes, they must, if they can establish that they got something from the vaccine, they must. But what has happened during emergency use authorization, when it was issued, it was phase 2 trial. In phase 3 was not done. Phase 4, which is a post-marketing analysis, was not done. And secondly, the entire onus was put on respective governments. The companies were said, no, we are giving you and helping you because we are not going to make, we want to help humanity. So onus is on government to compensate if something happens. And that's what contract has been signed with almost all the government, including UK government. And
Okay.
UK government decided to give 150,000 pound if there is a death or 60% disability, but that is not enough to carry on the life of dependents or the person. And therefore, people have
Right.
gone in for higher compensation.
Well, Dr. Gilada, you've made a very important point that look at the time when this vaccine was being administered. At that time, the pros were much higher than the cons. That you could take this risk and look at the benefits of what we got. We actually got to save lives, is what Dr. Ishwar Gilada has said. Let me quickly go across to two of our other viewers. Gopal calling us from Varanasi. Go ahead, Gopal.
Actually, I'm calling from Varanasi. I'm the opinion that all medicines, whether it is vaccine or even anything, will be having a small kind of side effects. But at the same time, the Corona time was an emergency. At that time, to save the life is more important.
Absolutely.
We have given 100 crore people 2 times, almost 200 doses have been given in India, and there is no such major any complaint has come from anybody. So blaming Modi ji and all is completely nonsense. Yeah, this is.
So that's good. So you have another
really
caller
saved
calling
the
in and saying, don't politicize this issue. A quick word, Krishna Dutt is also calling us, our viewer from Hyderabad. Krishna Dutt.
Yeah, hello. I want to make 3 points. Number one, there's no point in bringing politicians and the half-baked knowledge people onto the news hours and debating them. They have no this thing. As the previous caller said, politicizing and holding somebody responsible without any proper statistics and peer-reviewed journal, this thing is waste of time. Second, now having gone through this most dangerous phase of the things, now just talking to pulmonologists and practicing doctors alone will not be sufficient unless they come with a peer-reviewed journal reporting. Third, the original formulation and the inventors of the formulation, that is, let's call them a pharmacist, from AstraZeneca, from Covishield in Indian condition, they should now disclose their view of the statistics of administering this, having collected crores of data. What do they stand? Even Pfizer is having the same problem. There is no new thing in this. Every vaccine will have some side effects.
So it's not just one vaccine, a broad-based study perhaps of all the vaccines now should be looked into it. But Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, it's important that we are talking about this. How much of it is rhetoric and how much is it in reality? Because let's face it, in India, Dr. Bagai, have there been cases of such side effects which are being reported, which have been alarming in nature?
Good evening. So 4 quick points. First of all, people who are even politically irrelevant, for them to become, searching for opportunities to embarrass themselves is completely irresponsible. I think they should leave it to the people who are best equipped to answer these questions. So I won't get to the politics of it, but I would request the opposition also to keep well away from it. With regards to the vaccine is safe. There are close to 200 crore vaccines of Covishield which have been given. The Indian data as for today, the side effects, what we call as ADR, is 0.01%. The death because of vaccine is 0.0001%. It's absolutely acceptable by international norms. Now, when you look at the UK, the so-called suit which has been filed, it's really funny because the European Medical Association has published data of 34 million cases of in which the risk of embolic phenomena is 0.0. The risk of embolic phenomena clots because of COVID is 100 times more. You have to decide if you want COVID because of COVID 195 increased risk, or taking the vaccine and saving lives, saving your body organs and saving long COVID. Point number 2, British Heart Foundation has published data which includes 10 million doses in which it has absolutely clearly proven that the vaccine is safe. The largest global study has been published in British Medical Journal this year, 20th of February, in which 99 million vaccine doses were analyzed, and it has shown that the vaccine side effects are lower than any other normal disease in general population. What do you mean by saying general population? People in general population also have blood clots. They also have thromboembolic phenomena. If the vaccine side effect percentage risk is less than the general population, that's proof of the pudding. That means there is no excess mortality. There is also certain case reports in which people as young athletes or young people had sudden myocardial infarctions and things. If you exert after COVID, or if you exert immediately after an infection, your heart and lungs are at strain. Overall, as a summary point, these vaccines are safe. It has done India extremely well. And again, I'm saying this, and I've said it a million times on every platform, on every television channel. Indian government has done well by introducing this vaccine, by promoting this vaccine, by creating public awareness. Without this, we would have lost lakhs and lakhs of more innocent citizens. Vaccine has worked. It has prevented infection, prevented serious side effects, serious disease and death. And it is also in international data, vaccine prevents long COVID.
Thank you so much, because for putting all of this into perspective, that the risks far outweigh the benefits that we got out of these vaccines at the peak of the Delta wave that we had sought, which claimed so many lives, but many more were also saved due to the vaccines. Thank you so much, Dr. Sanjeev Bagaya, as well as Dr. Ishwar Gilada. Unfortunately, there are other viewers. We couldn't accommodate that in that show, but then we'll keep getting you these updates and keep tracking that story for you right here on Times Now. Do stay tuned. We are slipping into a short break.